Hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to have what I think is going to be a pretty great show. Got a few key news stories we're going to bring you, updates from previous stories, actually. Kimberly's going to tell us some exciting news, what Governor Beshear has been up to. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how the Trump administration is blocking some efforts, some rare kudos we were giving to Attorney General Coleman last episode, I believe. So hold the presses there. And then really a fantastic opportunity to check in with some labor leaders from across our Commonwealth. We're thrilled to be joined by Dustin Reinstedler with the AFL-CIO, Kentucky AFL-CIO, and then Amy Beasley, who's the president of the Bluegrass Central Labor Council in Lexington, also is a city and county. Sorry. I'm at an airport, so really, it's an interesting show. Hopefully, it'll be somewhat informative, and you won't hear the over-the-air announcements from the lady telling you about the gate changes too often, but you'll probably hear it a little bit. So that's me. I'm Aaron. We're going to check in with our co-host right now. Let us know who you are, where you are, and who's on your BITIN list. So joined by Kimberly this week. How are you doing, Kimberly?
I'm doing well. I'm out of town right now. I am in the Chi-Town, Chicago, Illinois, up here with some family. But on my biting list today, I'm gonna say it's three things. The last leg of the baby boomers, Generation X, and Donald Trump. Why do I say all of those right now? Because now we have a Save America Act versus affordable housing. The Senate approved the affordable housing bill, and yet the president says it will not be signed unless they go head on and sign off and get that Save America Act together. Why do I say the last leg of the baby boomers and Generation X? Because of our failures to really get out there and do what we needed to do. This is what has been produced, the Donald Trump era. Why are all of the youth so upset and just come out of the womb angry? Because they feel like we should have done more for them so they would not have to incur a Donald Trump regime. Back to you, Aaron.
All right. Okay. Interesting. So let's see. I'm Aaron. I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C. Here I am at National Airport. So that's why you'll be hearing the updates from time to time behind me. And I think for me on my BITIN list, I am putting something you probably never heard of. So the Commodity Futures Trading Commission Chairman, Michael Selig. So that's I'm putting him on the BITIN list. If folks remember, last week we had a story about Attorney General Coleman, or General Coleman apparently he's called, suing to challenge the prediction markets and how they were under-regulated in Kentucky, and he was stepping forward. So again, hold that idea. We'll get to it in just a second. So all right, so I think one quick thing I wanted to check in on. We folks, we are 131 days out from November, so we don't have that long until the opportunity to do something I think really remarkable in this nationwide political conversation that's happening. If folks know that the House of Representatives right now controlled by the Republicans by a pretty narrow majority. And what we want to do is flip our 6th congressional district. And we have been working really hard to start engaging with voters that don't typically show up to midterm elections. So really important for us to engage those voters, find out where they're at, get them engaged, and then ideally have them join us, at the ballot box in November. We have a campaign and a goal to get basically 7 touches with some of the most important voters in that cohort between now and November 3rd. But we need your help to do it. But we had a really fantastic postcarding event. We've got 20,000 voters. We are trying to send handwritten postcards to, asking them to take a survey, let us know what they think about what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the political system, how politicians are responding to what's going on in the economy. So those handwritten postcards are really critical in the first step in that kind of multi-step process to engage those voters and get them to the polls. So we're getting really close to 20,000. I think we were like very, 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 very close to 15,000. So we've got a goal of getting through them all by the end of July, getting those next 5,000 plus all done, so we can send them out to these voters the end of July, and then start a process of following up and engaging with them so they're ready to go in November. So if you haven't taken part of it, if you're in the Lexington area, please come and join us. We've got a great post. You can take a look at the pictures of the folks who had a great time yesterday making those postcards, filling out those postcards. We are going to be back at West Sixth on July 13th for another opportunity to do those postcards. I hope you can join us. So that's it for our kind of take action update. But again, if we are serious about flipping the 6th district, which really is a unicorn opportunity, if you think about all the stories you're hearing about redistricting, about the crazy gerrymanders that are happening all across the country to take away like Black political power because of the Supreme Court decision, take away Black political districts, and just trying to do everything in their power to get rid of Democratic districts as much as possible. We thought California versus Texas. Here we are in Lexington with this unique gift of a open, competitive congressional seat, but it's one that status quo, Republicans win this. The political situation we've got right now, plus our strategy, I think we will be able to flip that district if we are successfully implementing our political strategy. So hope you help out. Really big opportunity to take away Trump's power and make a big difference. So moving on, I think we've got some news stories we want to cover pretty quickly. And I think the first one, so I've alluded to it now twice. Big important story, news of the week update is the impressive effort, again, kind of the broken clock opportunity. We don't fall all of ourselves to give Attorney General Coleman kudos here, but he did bring a lawsuit against those 2 prediction market companies because they were basically not being regulated appropriately as sports gambling operations. He's saying they're unlicensed and illegal sports gambling operations. Sports gambling is regulated differently, than other types of, commodity futures trading. And we were impressed with what he was doing there. Unfortunately, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission disagrees with what he has done, and they have now filed a lawsuit against Kentucky in federal court just yesterday. Republican Attorney General Russell Coleman, along with Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, the Department of Revenue Commission, and the Kentucky Horse Racing and Gaming Corporation are all named as parties in that lawsuit. And the Commodity Futures Trading Commission says the state laws are an effort to block Kentucky Commodity Future Trading Commission registered contract markets. And so that's, it's a big effort. It's a big, political kind of push and pull, legal push and pull. Obviously, the prediction markets are operating as sports gambling. So the fact that they read the tortured statement that comes from Commissioner or Chairman Michael Selig, where they do everything in their power to not refer to these as gambling or gaming markets, it's pretty clear that they don't really have a much of a leg to stand on. It'll be I think it'll all come down to what judge gets the case. But they filed in the Eastern Kentucky U.S. District Court, and they're arguing that the state rules be declared unconstitutional. They've done this, not just in Kentucky. They've filed similar lawsuits in Minnesota and Illinois and Rhode Island or other, the other states that are seeking to regulate those prediction markets as those, sports gambling and illegal sports books that they truly are. So interesting. We'll see it play out. This is, of course, the kind of the next move in a legal process, and we'll see kind of how it shakes out. But that's Kimberly. Any thoughts on that? Have you been showing up and using the prediction markets at all to make yourself a little bit of, coin?
A little bit of bread so I can get my money up, so I can get me a garden card, cannabis card, medical card. I do know all about the prediction markets and things like that because I'm very much into my money that I've been investing ever since before I was almost born, basically, and got stock to Disney. And also CRX Railroad was the start of that when I was just like not able to even read. But, the Attorney General's office is the top cop of Kentucky, the top investigator, the top detective of Kentucky. And although most of his views are not my views, and most of the people in Kentucky, not their views either, since he's been elected into that position. However, there are some circumstances that he's going to have to go after some people. Just like, I don't know if you've been seeing this, Aaron, and our listeners and viewers, but just like the Attorney General's office has gone after these people right here in Louisville, Kentucky, right here in Jefferson County, Medicaid fraud. One of the ladies, you always saw her on TV begging for money, but they say that they were doing all of this $11 million and they received $10.7 million in Medicaid fraud. She had a sober living house and some other type of entities with another lady. So, and there's other doctors, and it's hurtful when people say, hey, that was my daughter's doctor, my son's doctor. But there has to be something at the Attorney General's office that they have to be doing for the people to stay in that office. I'm sure he wants to be elected again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is one of these like pretty hardcore Trump supporters, and he kind of acknowledged as much when he was responding to this lawsuit. He's saying we're going to continue to collaborate with the Trump administration on rebuilding our economy and on border security. This is just an outlier where we take a different position in terms of federal preemption versus the state sovereignty issues. I think not shocking that anything that the states do to try to constrain those prediction markets is going to be met with a hard pass from the federal government, right? When you've got what Kalshi, I think has got Don Jr. on as some sort of an advisor, or Polymarket. One of the two main ones, I think Don Jr. is like up to his elbows in. So the idea that the Trump administration is going to let a family business take a hit is silly, right? So anyway, really, it will be an interesting policy or legal fight to watch it, kind of twist and turn, and we'll see ultimately how Attorney General Coleman fares versus the Trump administration. All right, so the next story I think is coming to us from you. What do you got for us, Kimberly?
Well, of course, I'm going to talk about my favorite Kentuckian, and that would be our governor, Andy Beshear. And what I'm going to do tonight for our listeners and viewers, Aaron, is simply just read his statement of what he's talking about when it comes to the General Assembly's senseless and avoidable budget cuts are definitely hurting Americans. So I'm not going to try to sound like Governor Beshear, because you all would think this was a comedy show, but I'm just going to read you his complete statement, and it tells you what kind of governor that we truly have. And this came out actually yesterday. This is the governor speaking, quote, "In the last few weeks, my administration received a number of calls and emails from Kentuckians concerned about painful cuts to Medicaid, behavioral health services, and senior meals. These are very real and valid concerns that I want to address. First, I want Kentuckians to know that these cuts were completely avoidable. In January, I put forth a balanced budget that funded the needs of our department for community-based services, maintained both the full funding and full services for providers like the Lee Specialty Clinic, fully funded Medicaid, expanded the number of Michelle P. waiver slots for families of children with autism, and provided the dollars needed for senior meals. Unfortunately, the Republican supermajority in the General Assembly chose not to follow my budget, but instead created and passed their own, with more than $1 billion less than these necessary services cost the Commonwealth. Their excuse: we must address the rising costs associated with Medicaid. But the truth is, much of those rising costs come from $6 billion in increases required by laws passed by those same legislators between 2020 and 2025. So they've added services we have to pay for while taking away the money we have to actually pay for them. The numbers don't add up, and in their budget, we simply don't have the dollars. Sadly, they knew it. Members of my administration and I repeatedly warned of these painful impacts dating back to January in my State of the Commonwealth address. We increased those warnings in March after seeing the initial budget from the General Assembly. Yet they took no action, and the cruel and senseless cuts moved forward. Now Kentuckians are forced to bear the outcomes of these short-sighted decisions, which have been by chronic defunding from the federal government. It's wrong, and our people deserve better. Faced with this reality, Republican leadership now says that I have flexibility to move money and protect essential services as they decry the very cuts they've caused. But if you've underfunded everything by over $1 billion, there's not the money to move without starving other essential services. I'm doing what I can to help. Right now, I'm working on a plan to save the Lee Specialty Clinic, but at best, it will be a Band-Aid to slow the bleeding from the failures in the budget. I need Kentuckians to raise their voices too. First, continue to call my office and speak to members of my team. We work for you, the people of Kentucky, and we want to do the best we can to reduce this pain. But we can only spend what we have. Like your budget, once ours runs out, there is no more. What is most effective is for you to call your legislators. They sorted this budget significantly, but they will be back in January with an opportunity to provide the funding needed to save these services and deliver the money needed for Kentucky providers to serve our people. Remember, I believe health care and having enough to eat are basic human rights. We need to see that the supermajority in the General Assembly believes that too. Governor Andy Beshear.
Yeah,
Back to you.
These cuts are going to be significant. I think 4% doesn't sound like an enormous amount, but in another article, those 4% cuts to Medicaid waiver programs specifically designed for individuals who are ventilator dependent, those with intellectual or developmental disabilities, and older adults with physical disabilities. Those waivers are really important. Those programs allow Kentuckians who need that long-term intensive care to remain at home or remain in their communities. Amy Stay, the executive director of the Kentucky Association of Private Providers, said Kentuckians with severe disabilities who access Medicaid through those waiver programs are going to be the most impacted. These are the most vulnerable, right? So it just seems shameful for sure. In a Republican supermajority that says, they're a Christian entity, right? And they care so much about what's in the Bible. Well, caring for the least of these is certainly right up there in terms of what Jesus was prioritizing. So,
exactly. Exactly. And the other thing about that, Aaron, that I want to point out at this time is also there's another $691 million that was taken out. Hopefully, when it comes back again, maybe we can get like $295 million back into Medicaid. But we are in a substantial deficit here in Kentucky. And I don't want to be the prophet of doom or Debbie Downer, but we have to look forward. We have to look ahead. those on Medicaid might need to go and get all the eye care and all the dental work that they possibly can, because remember, that was something that our governor signed into, and that could be gone at any moment. And I didn't know this, but the majority of states in our union don't provide dental and vision for Medicaid. I had no idea. I thought, hey, you get dental and vision with Medicaid, but that's not the case. So we have to make sure that we're making those calls, um, because we need our teeth and we need to see. So make sure that you call your legislators, and the governor is inviting you to call his office and talk to his team. He definitely said that. I quoted everything that he said. So, let's do what our governor is asking us to do. He must have a plan in action. So let's help him, let's just help him carry out that plan.
Sounds good. I do think his number one plan is to use the bully pulpit, right? So he's definitely trying to gin up some pressure on those lawmakers who really are the ones in charge of that budget, and who passed those significant cuts. But yeah, it's really important we hold them accountable for sure, because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but there's only 131 days till the November 3rd election. So lots of important opportunities to share the the impact of those policies, the impact of those cuts, and to hold some lawmakers accountable to what they were prioritizing in Frankfurt. All right, so a couple things I wanted to do. We got some some check-in stories. So for the news of the week, we want to just do some quick updates. Number one update, I know you're interested. We've been covering this story. It's again the political jelly of the month club for Kentucky. Is Matt Bevin in jail yet? So sadly, the update is he is still not in jail. I think he's probably still in Maine. But the update on this important issue about his divorce case and Jonah Bevin trying to get some resources because they've cut him off, and they really have treated Jonah Bevin incredibly poorly, their adopted son Jonah Bevin. And there has in fact been an arrest warrant. That arrest warrant, as far as we can tell, has not been served up in Maine, where he is hiding out. But the end of July, rather, he is being forced to appear in person at the next hearing. So that's going to be happening in late July. Who knows if he will actually be arrested when he shows up? Probably not. They'll probably let him just show up to the hearing. But really important final hearing is what the judge is describing it as. So he's going to have to show up. He's going to have to bring his financial documents that he has been resisting, because apparently he's not paid taxes since 2021, which if you and I had tried to pull that off, Kimberly, we'd probably be in jail right now. But yeah, hasn't filed his federal taxes since 2021, and is trying to basically keep all that information out of the public record and keep it away from Jonah Bevin, who wants to use it to allow for support for him after he's been treated so shabbily by the Bevins. Anyway, so yeah, that's my quick update. And then I think you have a quick update as well, don't you, Kimberly?
Yeah, I just want to say something really quickly. Bevin, he better get himself together, because Judge Angela Johnson, as I said maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, she's very firm, but she's fair, and she is not playing around with him. But why do we not really even care? This should be like the biggest news ever in the state of Kentucky. But because we have a president with 34 felonies and he's been convicted of them, I think that all of us are kind of becoming a little bit numb to the corruption. But I'm gonna go on into more corruption. Everybody wants to know, is Mitch McConnell still alive? Yes, he is. He's still alive. He checked in on the 14th of June. We don't know why. He was having flu-like symptoms. We don't know what that was about. But we also know that back in July of 2023, he kind of froze up. He froze up again. He's just been having a lot of health issues, but I mean, some of that is to be expected, when we're getting older. But also, some of that is to be expected also because he has been in horrible, the Grim Reaper, and he even teased and like that name, that nickname that was given to him. Who would like that nickname? the Grim Reaper. But it speaks of him. We hope that, everything works out for him. But yeah, he's still alive, and he will not be in session to vote on anything at this particular point. So we'll see what happens with Mitch McConnell.
All right, those are the updates. Matt Bevin not in jail. Mitch McConnell not dead. So important that we keep those things happening, because every week it seems like there's some news that comes up. We want to make sure you're up to date. All right, so most important thing about this episode is we are checking in with some important labor leaders who are doing important work for the working class. Really, everyone knows right now the political issue of the day is affordability, right? And what can we do to ratchet down prices? Certainly not adding tariffs. Certainly not starting an ill-advised war that shuts down the Strait of Hormuz and jacks up energy prices. But what we do know is that the labor unions and the labor movement is working very hard to increase raises wherever they can, increase what people are getting paid, and that, of course, is one of the best ways to keep up with inflation and keep up with rising costs, as making sure that your pay is going up. So we are really honored to be joined by a couple of really important Kentucky labor leaders. Dustin Reinstedler, who is repeat visitor, is with the Kentucky AFL-CIO, and then Amy Beasley, who is with the Bluegrass Central Labor Committee in Lexington, and also is a Lexington Fayette Urban County Government council member. Sorry, blanking on what that actually is called. All right, so thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to you both. I will add you guys to the stage because I don't know what happened to my producer. Lost my producer, Parker. Just so you know, it's an all-volunteer show, and sometimes it shows. Hey,
the show must go on, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, Dustin and Amy, how are you guys doing?
Good. Doing well. Yeah. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Dustin. How are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
I'm assuming this is not the first time you guys have met.
It is not the first time we have met. That's correct.
All right. So honored, though. I think it's the first time I've been on a show with the two of you. But I want to just first check in. What is the state of labor? What the labor kind of movement in Kentucky, Dustin, and in Lexington, Amy, and get a quick thumbnail sketch of how things are going for workers in these important areas. So, Dustin, you first.
Thank you. Yeah. So union membership did see another slight uptick in growth since the last time I was on. However, people are mad. They're fired up. You said it just a moment ago, affordability has people fired up, and I think that's driving more people to try to form and join unions right now.
Nice. All right. And then how about Amy, what's going on with Lexington and in the labor world?
Lexington has seen an uptick in labor members as well. We had a coffee shop try to organize by themselves, some young folks. So that's good. We're having more rallies here. More folks are coming out. We're getting together more because people are mad.
Yeah, and I said affordability. I don't know that captures it, right? It's like, oh, the affordability issue. We've heard like Trump make fun of it, say it's a made up word because he's crazy. But it is, it's more like a cost crisis, right? Like it's insane how much prices are going up. There's not any relief anywhere I can see, and again, we're a Kentucky political show. So we'll bring this back to the legislature, right? There was an effort to have a housing bill in this last session, which they could not get over the finish line because they just weren't prioritizing it. And it seems everywhere you look, there's like, if you got Republicans in charge, they don't seem to care very much about constraining costs or increasing wages at all. So let's start with the legislature. Dustin, I know you're very active up there. You spent a lot of time in Frankfort during the session. It was a long session, so congratulations on surviving. But yeah, what's your take on what happened in Frankfort this last session?
Boy, was it long. That is an understatement. So you know what? I'm very proud to say we always have lobby days where unions sponsor and bring up their rank and file members, and it's gotten more and more popular. I think the word has spread from people going back to their job sites over the years and talking about it or whatever. But we had over 600 rank and file lobbyists come up to do, one day lobbying. That obviously was not all in one day. Our largest group was about 150 with the steel workers. But I want you to think that 600 people came, took a day off work, planned to do so, to talk to their legislators and others about issues that matter to them. And we barely got anything passed positive for working class people. And we also saw all these attacks on everything else. Meanwhile, we have a record year of what corporations and special interest groups spent on lobbying and lobbyists. A couple of those making over $1 million per year. And I think over a dozen of them making more than $500,000, and something like 20 of them making more than Governor Beshear. So it really shows you who actually holds the power, how much it costs to hold that power. And it should be a very strong wake-up call for working class people that they're going to need to start showing up, standing up, fighting back. Quickly I'll talk about some things that happened. Obviously, there were some indirect attacks on working class people, bills that passed, the budget, education attacks, healthcare for public employees, that kind of stuff. But we did get a couple good ones across the finish line through some very hard lobbying and last minute changes, and frankly, some help from a couple of pro-worker Republican legislators. We got Senate Bill 136, the unemployment bill, which really helped all the Ford workers that are laid off for 10 months right now. They know they have a job to come back to, but the current system says that they still have to apply to 5 jobs per week. So with 3,000 workers laid off, that was 15,000 job applications going out per week to employers of people that actually weren't looking for a job. So not only were these employees struggling to do that, but employers were also mad because they're trying to hire people and they weren't there. So that was passed. That was great. House Bill 185 was clear employment guidelines for application processes for people with felonies, to where employers have to say up front that they're going to be looking at that sort of thing. And House Bill 311 is railroad vegetation. It gives our railroad workers the chance to be safer and to do the work themselves. And we filed a couple of good bills that didn't go anywhere. I will tell you one that I thought was super cool, and that was from Representative Al Gentry, House Bill 404. Similar to when you're in the military or National Guard or reserves or whatever, if you have to go to duty, your employer has to hold your job for you. They can't discriminate against you, blah, blah, blah. We ran a bill almost exactly like that, only instead of for military, it's if you run for public office. So that would be from a state legislator, governor, whatever, all the way down to city council, dog catcher, whatever, because we want to see more working class be able to run for positions. So, and then there was a couple, really bad bills that we got killed at the last minute. One that comes to mind is House Bill 732 from Representative Gordon. I believe she's over from the Richmond area. Aaron, you probably know her. Worker misclassification, and that's a big topic these days. Everybody wants to title people as a subcontractor or an independent contractor, and not give them the rights and protections that an employee has. However, people are not wanting to work for that really because they want benefits. They want access to unemployment, workers' comp, they want insurance, and so on. And the legislature kept saying, well, we want to be able to provide a portable benefits plan to these independent contractors because they need these benefits. And our argument was simple: is why not just call them employees, right? Luckily, with a lot of effort, we got that bill killed at the last minute. That probably wraps up my legislative update. Sorry if I went over. It was a big one.
I'm super glad to hear there were positive stories, and the fact you got it, got some Republicans to work with you on a few of these important pieces of legislation that really matters. And I do. It's interesting, right? Because it's a super majority, and so if we're gonna get anything done, the Republican Party mostly has to agree to get it to allow it to go through, or you've got to be able to work on a really smart issue that's going to pick off a handful, and it's some that'll be willing to get their leadership to schedule the floor time and and get get it moving through committee, right? So I don't envy you the work you have to do at the State House right now, but glad to hear that there's some bright lights there, some positive signs. So congratulations on that work, Dustin. Amy, how about you? What's going on with Lexington Fayette? Are there any specific rules or policies or anything you guys are looking at that could make things better for workers, better for folks who are looking for those increased in benefits or increase in wages right now?
So we've been super busy over here. So we are launching a tech internship pilot program. So they'll try and keep more tech folks here in Lexington. We're working on and already have changed some policy around contractors and are trying to get more local contractors to be able to bid and win jobs here. And it's easier to change policy within city government. So if I decide that I want LFUCG jobs to look at bidders who are more local, it's easier to change policy than it is to pass a new ordinance. So we're able to get that done. We have the sanitation workers in committee. We're working on getting them a collective bargaining agreement. They have a meet confer now, so I put that into committee. We asked the solar developers to only use union labor, and we're trying to get the first tri-labor solar agreement here in the state of Kentucky with a solar project we have out on our landfill. Business agent Jeremy Jenkins with the 189 has come and spoke before our planning commission and at city council on a lot of issues. He's over with the laborers 189. We are offering expungement clinics, job fairs, scholarship, tech schools, CDL training to new folks, small business and economic development classes, and we have a summer youth job program with our Partners for Youth program.
That's a ton. Dustin, you jealous? What is
No, hey, that's my sister. You don't get jealous of family. You lift your family up. But man, can I say something here real quick? To the people watching, listening, this is exactly why not just union people, but working class people should run for any kind of office, legislature, council, whatever. Listen to the things that Amy's talking about getting done. She's not there to serve special interest groups. She's not there to get rich herself. She's there to help working class people. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
And Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself if folks aren't familiar, because we don't do a ton of local politics on the show. We tend to focus on what's going on in Frankfort and then some of the federal stuff as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the role you play at the county council.
So I'm the 8th District City Council member, and I am running for re-election. But I'm also a 22-year union member. I still kept my full-time job, so I work every day at Kroger. Been there for 22 years. I'm their chief steward. I'm also the Bluegrass Central Labor Council president, which is it's kind of like it's where all the unions come together in the 27 counties that we represent. And meet, and we have picnics, and we plan stuff like this. We have a educational program. We're working with AFT to try and roll that out this summer so that we can get more union involvement in our high schools and our civic classes. I'm a mom of 4. I traded football and PTA for city council. I ran for this job because I was ticked off, which is a perfect reason to run for a job. But the community center in my district was closed when school was closed. It made no sense to me in an area where folks are shooting each other in the streets for the community center not to be open. So I decided if we wanted to put the guns down, we'd have to give them something else to pick up. And being in one of our trades is one of the best things that we can do to help get our folks out of poverty.
That's awesome and amazing. And congratulations on all those kind of accomplishments that you rattle off there. Good luck in your re-election effort.
Thank
but
you.
I get, I love that, it very, very much is. And I think there's a whole conversation that needs to be had about how much city council members are paid for their quote unquote part-time job. but I do.
So I have some strong feelings about that, and I'm happy to share them with you. People have said that this is full-time work for a part-time pay, but the $40,000 that the city council gets paid is someone's full-time salary. I don't make much more than that at Kroger. I work full-time there. And if you don't like what a job pays, you can quit. But they did put this on the ballot. They have decided, council has decided to put a raise, a accountability clause, and a review of our charter every 8 years on the ballot in November. So the folks of Lexington will be able to vote on if they think we deserve to be paid more money or not.
So you made some interesting comments there. Like, what do you think? Do you think voters should approve that pay raise, or do you like the fact that people should be treating it as a part-time job, because that way they don't lose touch with kind of working folks?
I love the fact that Lexington was engaged in this first ever civic assembly. 40 people with Civic Lex did this whole work, and I'm excited about that. And I always think that Lexington should have a vote in whatever we do, but I voted no on putting the pay raise onto the ballot.
Okay. All right, then. Probably gives an indication of what you think about the bill itself. All right. Well, let's do this. So Amy, you mentioned elections, so your election's coming up. Dustin, I know the AFL-CIO is very active in elections. Well, how are you looking at November? What are the goals for your labor council, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so I sent a very positive and thoughtful letter to Morgan Eves with the Kentucky Democrat Party. I've also sent one out to Republicans, but I've yet to hear back from them. But I want to mend fences, build bridges, give working class people a voice, because I recognize what's happening. And in my letter, not only did I kind of reaffirm the commitment and the relationship, but I said that if you'll invite me to any of the 120 counties to come talk to the party at just a random once a month meeting or whatever you have, a picnic, doesn't matter, then I'll do so. So far, about 35 counties have invited me, and I've been to a bunch already this summer. That has been fun. It's been eye-opening. I'm meeting a lot of candidates, and I'm meeting a lot of people and hearing what matters to them, not just union people. It's encouraging to see how many people are showing up. I'm told that some of these county meetings would have 6 or 7 people, and now they're having 70, 80 people show up. And I'm there for that. So it's pretty cool. People are mad that we have a trillionaire now and nothing ever trickled down as promised. They're mad about the Iran payment. They're mad about protecting the Epstein class, while the rest of us are just trying to figure it all out. He never drill baby drilled. He never built the wall. It's just a bunch of empty promises. People are mad, and I think that they're going to get out and vote. And furthermore, we have a bunch of union candidates and working class people running for office. That's also encouraging.
Yeah, and so you guys are active in endorsements. I just saw recently you endorsed Zach Dembo for the 6th congressional district. How do you guys manage that process? I mean, did Ralph Alvarado seek your endorsement? Did he know that after his history in Frankfurt, he probably wasn't going to get an endorsement working with the governor that brought back right to work, which of course is a horrible name, which is a right to not be a member of a union, I guess. But yeah, how did you guys treat that election?
Yeah, so it's a democratic process between our executive board and our committee on political education, which altogether is like 40-something people. And it is a long discussion. Sometimes you have 300 candidates before the primary all shakes out, and then you have so many through the general. Yes, they have a questionnaire they fill out. Sometimes we even meet with them. We do treat incumbents a little differently. If you have a good voting record, because we have a legislative scorecard that we keep track of everything with, then we often go ahead and make an endorsement just to get those out of the way. We would obviously never endorse against an incumbent that is in good standing with us. But, Cheryl Lynn Stevenson is a very old and strong friend of organized labor, and we liked what she was talking about. And that doesn't mean that we had anything against Zach Dembo. I really liked the guy. I had met him several times through the process, but after he won the primary, we met back with him again. He met with our executive board, and it was a unanimous vote to endorse him after hearing what he offers for working class people and the commitments that he's actually willing to make sure that his people hold him accountable.
Gotcha. Yep. So he did not get your endorsement in the primary. That went to Cher, but then after that primary, you talked to him again and endorsed him in that one. But
Right.
Yeah, did Alvarado seek your endorsement? Was there a conversation about him, or how are you guys treating the kind of the partisan nature of these elections?
So we have we try to be as fair as possible. So literally by the filing deadline, Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. If you have filed, we send you a questionnaire. We often even, I won't say often, we always even follow up with the party leaders to say, hey, just a heads up, our questionnaire went out. You might remind your people we're interested in hearing from them. As you can imagine, no, he was not knocking on our door or trying to court us or pursue us whatsoever.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I would expect. But we haven't done our endorsement process. We will. That'll be a little bit later when we share our survey with those seeking office. And again, we'll send it to folks who've registered and folks who are going to be on the ballot, and let them choose to fill it out and remind them that it's there in their inbox. I know people get a lot of email these days, but it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And whether, my hunch is Ralph Alvarado's probably not going to fill out our survey. If I was going to gamble, I'm going to go to the poly markets right now because it's free and it hasn't been regulated here in Kentucky. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for kind of giving us that insight, Dustin, about how you manage the process. Amy, does the Bluegrass Central Labor Committee, do they do endorsements, or are you just going to leave it to the AFL, or how?
No,
you guys
we
manage
do.
that?
We don't endorse anybody who doesn't come and ask us for it. If we're not important enough for you to come by and speak to us, then we are not important enough for you to get our endorsement. We didn't endorse anybody in the primary except for myself and April Davis Whitaker, who is running for a county commissioner down there in Nicholasville. We have had some come and speak to us. We'll be doing our endorsement soon, but we let anybody who wants to come. We give them 5 minutes to tell us all about themselves, and then our election committee brings us forward the people they think will be best, and then we vote on it as a body of the whole.
And then, so you said, and this kind of astounded me because I guess I don't know enough about the Bluegrass Central Labor Committee, but you guys have 27 counties that you cover.
We do.
So,
There's the labor councils are broken up all over the state of Kentucky. So I'm the one for Lexington, but there's 4. Is that right, Dustin? 4 others besides us?
We have a total of 7 labor councils.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And each of us are given an area that we represent.
Gotcha. But yours, the Bluegrass that you lead, that's a 27 county area.
It is.
Okay. So I don't know if it's on, I'm assuming if I was Googling right now, I could probably find it on your website, but I don't know if you want to make that available, because I do know that we have a number of politicos who watch our show. I think, if they're in your region, they probably, or if they watch the show, my hunch is they would be very excited to have your endorsement.
When they watch the show.
Of course. There we go. Yeah.
When they watch the show. Yeah, I can email that to you. I'll email you the list of counties we represent.
Awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes. So when they hear this show, they can go to the show notes and figure out whether they're appropriate to seek your endorsement. Yeah.
And we represent all 120 counties. Want to be clear about that. However, that's where the CLCs and us differ, is they will get down as far as the council, the commissioners, the magistrates, and all that. Whereas AFL-CIO, we keep it strictly state, federal, state rep, state senator.
Yep, that all makes sense. Awesome. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to share with our viewers? Kind of labor priorities or kind of worker priorities that you guys have looking into that again. The next 131 days we've got between now and November.
I just want to shout out all the people that work so hard to inform workers, for those workers that step up, even if it's something as speaking out against an unsafe condition at the workplace that probably ends up saving a life or preventing an illness or injury. Shout out to the people that come up to lobby with us in Frankfort, knowing what we're up against, but they do it anyway because they believe so passionately in it. And I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing by traveling the state, talking to folks within the Democrat Party. They're mad. I'm mad. Heck, I might even run for something. I'm that mad. That's where I'm at right now.
Heard it here first, folks.
Heard it here first.
Dustin looking at some races. It'd be a Louisville race, I expect, because that's where you live, huh?
Who knows?
All right. He's not committing to anything, Amy. How about you? What any final thoughts you want to leave our viewers with?
Yes, I want everybody to come out and vote because horrible politicians are elected by those of us who don't vote.
Yeah. It was in the primary, it was 25% voter turnout, right? So in the general, it'll be more than that, and but it won't be a ton more because like reality of it is, like in midterm elections, we don't have as much turnout as we do in the big presidential election, right? So really important that folks show up. Dustin, kudos. 600 workers came out to your lobby days at the legislature. That's amazing. The fact that we're able to get all the stuff that those 600 folks wanted is a testimony to like how much money is in our political system and how much that matters to a lot of these politicians. I'm sure we could have a long conversation about money in politics and what we should be doing to get more responsive politicians in office. But yeah, starts by running. It's really cool that you're encouraging your members to run for offices. And Amy, again, thanks for all the work you're doing in Lexington. Appreciate the workers' perspective you're bringing to that, and a really impressive run of things you're getting done. But yeah, any final thoughts anyone wants to share?
We have a podcast starting up very soon. It's going to be called Clocked In, and Aaron, we hope to invite you on there when we get rolling.
Excellent. Always happy to show up. Always happy to talk with our labor friends, our labor leaders here in Lexington and here across the Commonwealth. Amy, Dustin, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Awesome.
Good to see you all.
All right. So what I'm going to do now, because we lost Kim, she had some family stuff she had to do. So what we're doing now is I'm gonna close out the show. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to our labor leaders. But what if you're not familiar, if you tuned in because maybe the AFL shared it with their followers, or Bluegrass labor folks shared it with their followers. Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit. We're registered with the Kentucky State Secretary of State. We're organized as a 501c4, which allows us to do political work. We're affiliated with the Indivisible Project and Common Ground Kentucky Action. We're also proud members of the Forward Kentucky Network. Shout out Bruce Maples. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. We're going to be back next week. Really excited about a show we're going to bring you, joined by former Kentucky 6th District candidate, former Amazon Sustainability Team member, and current data center accountability organizer, Aaron Petrie. So we're going to check in on the fight against the data center rush here in Kentucky, how folks can get involved to hold the line on affordable power bills. Production of episode 264 was by Parker. Thank you so much, Parker. Nate Orshan wrote and performed our theme song. You can find more information and music at natosongs.com. If you miss our weekly live stream on Facebook or on YouTube, audio podcasts and our show notes are available on Apple and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. If you do watch us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. As they say, smash the subscribe button. I don't know why you should smash it, but you could just touch it, click it. If you do listen to our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review because that helps the algorithms. And so thanks again for joining Kernels of Truth. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.